and welcome to stampingcatcrew.com. Today we're going to make this, actually it's a bag-a-lope, and it's an Easter treat holder. So this is actually the treat holder that's inside the little bag-a-lope here. And it's actually a treat holder that is made from an A2 envelope. So super easy to do. Most of us have them laying around, especially crafters, because it's our typical size, especially here in the US. Did an Easter one, and I'm going to show you all the components. So first we'll talk about the instructions on making the bag-a-lope, and then we'll talk about the die cuts I used and punches I used for the paper piecing for the bunny. And then for the inside, I just had some of our treat holders. These happen to be Stampin' Up! Cello bags, but you can get them anywhere. There's some shredded pink in the bottom, and some of our shimmer pink ribbon, and some white twine. So little chocolate lint bunnies. Can't wait until I can actually eat those. I have been being good with my diet lately. So let me rephrase that. With my lifestyle change lately, because I'm trying to be healthier. So I've been eating dark chocolate, a little half piece earlier in the day and a little half piece later in the day. But back to the bag-a-lope. So I'm going to set our little bunny aside. And what you're going to need is a paper trimmer. And you're going to have 1 inch of scoring. So I always keep both my blades on here. My dark gray is my cutting and my light gray is my scoring. And then this is actually where the envelope flap is. So this is your regular A2 size envelope. So along the bottom, I'm going to set it right here on this 1 inch line. And I'm going to score that. I'm going to turn it once, and I'm going to set it on the 1 inch line, and I'm going to score that, and I'm going to turn it one more time on the 1 inch line, and I'm going to score that. So you have 3 sides that are scored, and then one side, this part right here, if you turn the flap towards you, it's going to be the left-hand flap that's left open. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn that on the 1 inch line, and we're actually going to cut instead of score. So move this up here so you can see. So I'm cutting that right there. So this is our extra piece. This is what it's going to look like. You're not going to use it for anything right there. So that's garbage. This is what we're left with. The envelope. That left-hand side is cut off at 1 inch, and you have the bottom scored at 1 inch, top scored at 1 inch, and side scored at 1 inch. So put the paper trimmer away, and for today I'm going to show you tear and tape, because we want this tacked down, and most envelopes don't go all the way to the end, and even if they do, anytime that I'm doing a 3-dimensional project, I really like having some strong adhesive, and the tear and tape is that. Okay, so that's closed up nice and perfectly. And we have our bag. We are going to do a little bit of sponging. So at this point, you have your bag-a-lope, and it's ready to be assembled. All you got to do is fold up the bottom, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But here's where you can do all kinds of different things. You can do the paper piecing like we did and turn it into some little critter, animal, decorated bag, whatever you want. We've done a little bit of sponging for the bunny's tummy directly on here, which means obviously you could sponge the entire thing, do it at an amazing background. You can stamp front and back. So if you think about it, right here where your score lines are, this is the front of your bag. This and this right here, these 2 pieces are going to fold up to be the sides of your bag. And then this is the back of your bag. You can see where that little seam is. And then everything below this line is going to be on the bottom of the bag. So don't have to do anything here unless you want to do some sponging or whatever it is you want to do down there. So for today's video, all we're going to do is a little bit of sponging for the bunny's tummy. I happen to be using Pink Pirouette. It's a pale pink, and I knew I just wanted to have it right at the bunny's tummy, a little bit down, and we're going to just sponge lightly here. And then we're going to sponge a little more once we take the ink away. So you'll see what I mean in just a minute. So I'm sponging inside this little oval that I've cut out, and I'm going to show you all the sizes of ovals that we used. This one happens to be the medium size of the 3 sizes that we used. So we're going to darken that just a bit, and then that's plenty dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mask away. And so to do this, all I did was take one of my medium, and I punched out of a piece of paper that was about the exact same size as the front of the bunny here. And so that's my template. I'm going to set that aside. Then I'm going to do a little more sponging. So what you want essentially is to have a blended edge, not such a strong, defined edge where that's just all you see. But you do want to keep his little tummy there pretty defined. Okay, so that's it for that. So now I'm going to show you how to assemble the Bag-a-lope, and then I'll show you how to put all the bunny pieces together and what we did. So if you put your hand just down inside, all of these score lines right here are ready to go. So you can just very gently, you're going to fold this part down right here. And it's going to go to your score line. And you want to do that till you reach this point right here on both sides. And then this part right here where you have that, we've done this flat portion right here. So basically what we're left with is this score line right here. And then we're going to this score line right here. I'm going to flatten those out, and then the fold is right here, here. Do that for each of the 4 sides. So then I'm going to grab a bone folder here, and I'm going to really flatten out those edges that we scored. Then for the sake of going faster, we're actually going to use a little bit of the fast fuse. Going back to the exact score lines, if we put the bag down, we can use our little bone folder inside to give that a perfect edge. I'm going to clean some of this adhesive off my working area. There we go. So you've created essentially a treat bag holder. You can now close this up with a really fancy like gold clip, some ribbons, and like I said, you can do some stamping direct to it. You could use a little piece of Velcro on the inside to have it be a closed treat bag that just stands on its own. I've actually chosen to do a little handle with ours. So we're going to go ahead and show the rest of the instructions. If you want to do a little handle, I've done a 1/2 inch by 8.5 inches. And then I've put some of the tear and tape on the bottom of each one, and they're going to go on the inside right here. So at this point, you can essentially turn your Bag-a-lope into any holiday theme, birthday, Halloween, anything that you want. So with or without the handle. So if we go on with our bunny theme for the Happy Easter, I've actually done some die cuts. So this is what I used. I had the hearts from the Sweet and Sassy set, and I chose this one right here, cut it out of the Whisper White cardstock, just like that. And then once I had that done, I took the medium oval size that we used, and I stuck the end of the heart through it, just like this, and then ran it through the Big Shot machine so that it would cut off this tip right here. And that's it. So if you had this edge sticking out of the heart, feed it through just like this, so that you are only cutting off the tip, and that's going to create the bunny's head right here. So I already did the little feet. I chose this size framelit for the white, and I did the medium for the pink. It's Blushing Bright, I think, is what I chose to use, but any pink color that you have is great. And so these are for the little feet, and then I did 2 more for the ears, and you can tell on the ears, I've actually done the pink closer to the tips. So I did these 2 pinks in the medium, I did these 2 whites in the medium, and then I came back with the smallest layering oval, and I did the pink for the inside of the ears and placed it more towards the base. So if we put all these aside, wanted to show you what I had used in terms of die cuts. Any Happy Easter sentiment or whatever it is that you would like to write on here is great. I'll show you the little hands that I created for the bag as we assemble what we got going here. So the first thing I'm going to add is actually the feet. So those are going to be off the bottom right here of our little bag. And I've got a Stampin' Write marker in black. So any fine tip black marker would be totally great. And his little feet are kind of at a curve. And so what I did is I did kind of like this. For both sides of his little feet. And that's what the black marker was for. And we're going to do the same thing on his little hands that are holding the sign. So in the meantime, I do have some adhesive. We're going to go ahead and use the multi-liquid glue, which I love. But you could use the tear and tape. You can use the fast fuse. Any of those would be perfect. Snail is perfect adhesive. So let that sit right there. We're going to put a little more. Okay, so while his little feet are drying, let's assemble the face. This is the heart that we took the very top off of, and these are little pieces that I've got that all go on the face and the little hands. So these 2 white circles that we used for the base of the eyes, I used a 1/2 inch circle punch right here. So that was the only thing I used for those. Now these 2, we don't have in our set anymore. It's a 3/8 inch circle punch. So really use whatever tools that you have. I happen to have kept all of my things because I love having all of the sizes and I love layering things. So that was all I did for those. And I'm just going to stick a little bit of adhesive onto here. We're going to layer our blacks right in the center. So that's the eyes right there. And we're going to add a little bit of white to the center of the eyes when we get to that point. So I did do a little bit of teeth, and this happens to be about a 1/2 inch strip, and all I did was cut just with some paper trimmers, paper snips right there. And so all I'm going to do is simply add a line of adhesive. And I did want just a bit to stick out. So we're going to go about that far, and then you can see that creates his little front teeth. So I've also done these little pieces of black, and all I did is I took about a 1/2 inch strip of black cardstock that I had left over, and you can see that the length is roughly 1 inch long right here, but I didn't cut all the way to the edge. So I just took some very fine paper snips, and I left about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. Yeah. And I did 3 whiskers on each one, and then what holds it together is this part that's up here. So I'm going to take a very small amount of the liquid glue and have the whiskers about halfway here. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. And then take one of our hearts place that just over those. And then do a little spreading for his whiskers, give them some definition. Like that. So the couple pieces we have left to add are the eyes right here, and they're going to go right above the nose on each side, and then it really helps to not put the ears on until last because you want to know how much space that you have left. So those are going to go fairly close here. And then the ears right here. And then probably the easiest thing to do is kind of offset the eyes a bit. We're adding a little bit of adhesive. Just like that. And that creates your bunny's face. So super cute and actually really easy. I mean, you saw the die cuts and the punches we used. So the last little piece is, I have an old chalk marker that I'm just going to use to make a little bit of white on each side. Right there, and it does brighten as it dries, but we just wanted just kind of that hint of the little whites of his eyes. So that's that. So then we're going to attach his face on, and he goes here, and it's just enough to leave room for the bunny to hold the sign. So what we're going to do is just add enough right along here. I'm going to set that aside and let that dry for a minute. Bring in our Happy Easter, and you can tell we have 2 more hearts left. So what I wanted to do was have Bunny holding the sign, and you can see when I fold this heart over, one is bigger than the other in terms of on the size there, on the side, the way I folded it. And I'm going to make a little claw on each one, a little space for his little feet. I'm going to do the same thing for this side. And all we're going to do is add a dab of glue on both sides, right here. And then he's going to be holding the sign. So what we want to do is have that folded over just like that. So the bigger portion of the heart is to the outside, so it's not folded exactly in half. We're going to do the same thing with this side. Adding some adhesive. Trying to keep my hands clean while I'm doing this. So that's the bunny holding the sign. set our glue aside. I did add a dimensional into the center here. And then, let's see if I did add a tiny bit of glue to hold that on each side. So I think the best way is to add a little bit on each side right there. We'll remove the dimensional. And then I really like things that have some flow to them. So what we're going to do is not a strong fold, but I often will give things a curve like this and then back up for the banner. And then we want him, his feet and hands even. And so that's going to dry just like that. So the last part we have is a little bit of a bunny tail. And I've done a cotton ball, and we've got a kind of a flatter side. You can do hot glue, you can do lots of different kinds of adhesive. But for that, we can just stick his cottontail on. That gives the bag stability as well, because he's got a nice fluffy tail, which is kind of fun. The final two parts we're going to do, I wanted to add some height in the bottom of the bag, so I had some white tissue paper. Here's our Lindt milk chocolate bunnies in here. You saw that I had some shredded paper on the inside already, but I wanted to have some for the outside as well to kind of have it look decorative. And I want to have some pieces kind of hanging out. So we're just going to have a little bit of fun here and leave some pieces escaping. So that's that. And the final part is the handle. Like I said, I had done 1/2 inch, and I added a little strip of washi tape to the top because I wanted to have some kind of little decorative edge. And all I'm doing, I added 2 little strips of tear-in tape, and I'm just going down far enough to attach that. I'm going to remove from this side. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. We're going to go down just far enough to cover that up. And that is our handle and our cute, adorable Bag-a-lope. So probably stuff you have lying around your house already if you have cardstock and punches and whatnot. Everybody has these little envelopes, and you saw how incredibly versatile they were. Oh, this is the bunny we started with, and this is our final bunny. And I hope you liked it. Thanks so much for stopping by. Happy creating.